Yeah, they would.
Unless you're the manager
they
of the
would.
Hillary Clinton campaign. And then possibly it's believable. It comes
Maybe.
back. The credibility suddenly is there. And we're joined right now by Michael Highsmith from the Show Me Institute, showmeinstitute.org. Michael, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Marc.
Cool. I spent a lot of time in that old St. Louis Municipal Court Building, and it's been... Gosh, they moved to the old federal building years ago. It must have been at least 6 or 7 years that thing's been sitting there empty. Mm-hmm. And now a proposal has come along. I think I misread this earlier. I said they were going to build a new municipal court building. What they're going to do is build a new hotel inside of the old municipal court building is the plan.
Yeah, so the plan's to renovate the old building into a hotel to have 150 rooms inside of it. And this should be a welcome project, right? We should have its renovations coming to St. Louis. It's a new project. But we got to put the brakes on and we have to look at this because of the $60 million project, more than a third of it is being asked for in taxpayer subsidies. And you look at where this is going, and just about every abbreviation you can think of, there's a taxpayer subsidy named for it. You have TIF going towards this, you have TDDs, you have CIDs, brownfield tax credits. Just about everything is being asked for on the menu here. And a lot of these different things are compiling to cost taxpayers $22 million if it's approved.
Is that right?
That's
stunning.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just turn it over to Larry Rice and make a homeless shelter out of it?
That's an excellent question. There's a lot of different things that could happen with it, and the biggest thing you should look at here is if a hotel is going to be done. I know there's so many different things you can do with it. If there's going to be a hotel, there should be demand for a hotel, and if there is, you would certainly hope that a hotel could survive on its own. It wouldn't need a third of its costs covered by taxpayers.
Yeah, I don't know if there's clearly it seems like $60 million. I don't know if you could build a new hotel for that amount or not in downtown, like one of those high-rise buildings, or I mean, it seems like it.
That's what the proposal says. That's the estimated cost for it is $60 million. So.
Stunning.
Yeah.
See, they could even if they just remodel the basement where the jail cells are and let people spend a night in prison. And some of them would like that, right?
Give it a nice authentic.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we're onto something there. Some of the courtrooms in there used to be beautiful. I mean, they had nice hardwood on the walls, and the judges' chambers were all really nice. And they'd have to go in there and rip all that stuff out. Of course, I'm sure it's probably in disrepair after all these years sitting there empty. But
so another tax credit that's on the table is historic preservation tax credit. So, the idea behind this is not tearing down the municipal courts building; it's transforming it into a hotel that still maintains the structure that the building has right now. So it's still aesthetically pleasing to everyone who's looking at it downtown. But again, you look at some of these taxes, and when they're all being subsidized together, 3 different things are happening. First, you've got taxes going up because a TDD and a CID, these are just fancy terms for an increase in sales taxes in the area. But so first off, you have an increase in taxes. But along with that, if TIF is approved for this project, not only are your taxes going up, but the tax revenue that's being drawn in from these kind of taxes isn't going towards the things that you would hope. It's not going towards public safety. It's not going towards schools in the area. Instead, it's going to help pay for a developer in the area.
It's going to the developer.
And then, again, the third thing you look at is you're picking winners and losers here. If there's not necessity, if there's not demand for this kind of a hotel, another hotel is going to go out of business because it can't match the prices that are happening here.
I see. We've talked about that so often. If you put these things on the plate, of course the developers are going to ask for them. And if they're going to ask for one, why would they not ask for all of them? Because the city's incentive is it certainly doesn't want to see that building just sit there and rot on the inside. They'd much rather see something in it.
Yeah, absolutely. You absolutely want something to happen here, but when it comes to we're practically giving money to a developer so that they'll take something off of our hands and make something happen there.
I agree with you completely.
So this proposal, if you look at the estimates for it, they're proposing to make 50 jobs in this area. And when you break it down, that's almost $500,000 in public dollars per job created.
Yeah. I bet each of those employees would like to make $500,000. Then you just give them the money, right?
If only.
Speaking of which, and I've been looking forward to getting you in here because the Missouri Supreme Court ruled that it was indeed constitutional for the city of St. Louis to jack up its minimum wage. This was supposed to be gradual, but it's been tied up in court for a while. So under this ruling, it's going to go from the $7.70 it is now to $10 an hour, like immediately.
So it's going to go to $10 an hour this year, and then next year it'll be $11 an hour. So there's 2 things that are bad. One, we've talked about this. I've been on the show before and talked about minimum wage and some of the impacts it has when a business can get up and move right down the street to St. Louis County and not have to deal with this kind of thing. Employees are going to suffer. Businesses are going to suffer. There won't be as much job creation. But another thing with this is because this was supposed to be installed earlier in increments, it's hitting right now in 2017. Unless there's some kind of a phase-in, that's a $2.30 increase per hour per employee for small businesses. There's a lot of businesses who can't take that kind of a cut.
I know the city had a living wage at one point, which affected businesses above 50. This is going to hit everybody. If you're in business in the city, you've suddenly got to pay your lowest skilled employee $10 an hour, which means he or she was making $7.70. Person above them was making $8.20, and then somebody was making $9.20, and the next person 4 rungs up the ladder was making $10. So everybody has to get a bump under this rule. It's going to result in job loss, as you mentioned, because the employers don't have that much of a profit margin, and it's going to result in an increase in your product costs, whatever it is, hamburgers to tires, whatever it is, it's going to cost more.
Yeah, absolutely. And businesses are always looking for innovation. It's not that everyone wants to cut jobs, but no business that wants to survive can pay $10 to an employee that only produces $8 worth of benefit. It isn't fiscally sound.
No, it not only is it not fiscally sound, it's fiscally irresponsible for the liberals in this city not to understand basic economics, and they don't seem to care. Why would any corporation in America locate within the city of St. Louis, except for even with everything that's on the plate that they may be able to offer them brownfield tax credits and TIFs and CIDs and all of that? When it's all said and done, they've still got to pay those employees now $2.50 or $3 an hour more than they'd have to pay if they located in St. Louis County.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just it's illogical. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But they're all celebrating it, and I saw one of the politicians running for mayor. That election's next week, by the way. And I've got some polling, actually, that I'll tell you about when we come back. I saw some new polling on that race, and it will also have you shaking your head after I read that to you. So